So the moment that I realized I was supposed to be on this trip was when we kept saying the 11:11 throughout the trip, and it was just really aligned for me to know that this was a very fated trip for me. This is something I've been wanting to do since I was a young girl. Egypt has always called to me, and so when I was here, I felt very rooted within myself, within my body, and I'm also carrying a life. So it was just a very beautiful moment for me to share with everyone around me, and yeah.
My intention for 2024 was to connect with more like-minded spiritual women. So I knew right away when I found out about the trip that I needed to come. And I got visceral confirmation when we stepped inside the Karnak temple, which was such an incredibly profound spiritual experience. Being in the midst of these massive monuments from the ancient world and just feeling so much of that power, it makes me really emotional. And every experience was like that. So yeah, it was so majestic.
I've always wanted to go to Egypt. I've always been mesmerized by the history, the skill of the architecture, the culture, the food. Once Bruna said that this trip was coming, I had to take it. I wasn't even prepared to put that in my budget this year, but I found a way to actually come on this trip.
In July, I was in Belize with a friend, and we, spur of the moment, decided to cross over to Guatemala to go to Tikal, which is the Mayan civilization. And while we were there, we were at the top of one of the temples, and we were just talking and just looking down at everything. And I mentioned to him like how great it would be to go to Egypt and see all the pyramids and all the history there. And when I got back from the trip, 2 days later, I had lunch with Annette, and she randomly mentioned that she was coming to Egypt, and like that instantly, like I felt like that was the moment that I was meant to be, that I manifested coming to Egypt while I was there in Guatemala. So I didn't even doubt it for a moment of why I had to be here.
The moment that I realized I was meant to be on this trip was honestly the first night that we arrived. It was after the welcome dinner, and Lauren and I went back to her room, and we had honestly like a heart-to-heart and a really beautiful conversation about how we came to Egypt, and we ended up having like I ended up doing like an impromptu session on Reiki, and we ended up talking about astrology, and she ended up like reading some of my chart. And so it was like this exchange of both of our gifts on the first night. So it just set the precedent for something very, very magical.
So I heard that Bruna was going to be having another trip. I had previously experienced her return to self trips to both Costa Rica and Thailand. And since she had decided to do this trip to Egypt, I got really excited because I felt like I've always been really connected to like the pyramids and just all of it. I can't really, I guess, pinpoint one thing, but definitely it was just an experience that I knew that I wanted to take. And since I had been with her before and I knew what her trips entailed, I really knew that I was going to have a really great experience again.
For me, it felt really nourishing to be in her presence and feel just how at peace she is in everything she does and the way she moves and speaks, and can really make people feel at ease too. So I just really admire that about her, because I aspire to that as having the signature sign in Taurus, because none of my placements are in that sign. So just being imbibed in her energy, I feel like really made a positive impact.
Bruna has impacted my trip because I have I've never really been a spiritual type of person, and coming on this trip and witnessing her and what she means to all the other ladies on this trip really like inspired me to look into it more. I'm really glad that I met her and that I felt that she impacted my life in that way.
I've met Bruna about 3 years ago, and she's just the type of person that has a good heart. She has the type of personality that she wants to share and have the experiences with other people, as well as being able to get that opportunity out there for other people to also share in those experiences.
Oh man, Bruna is a magical little being. Not little, quite powerful, quite big. I felt very taken care of, very supported, very seen. She, from day one, set the precedent for a very immersive experience and for everybody to show up with all of themselves, with all of their magic, with all of their vulnerability, with all of their fears. So I don't think you could ask for anything better. And I'm truly grateful to have the experience of knowing her and in knowing her in this way with travel, because you're thrust into something entirely new. She has given me a lot, and I'm happy to have gotten to know her.
I wanted to expand my spirituality and the reasons why what I'm searching for, and I really feel that she really brings that to the table with other things that she also provides, including her friendship. We've developed this friendship over years that has really encompassed all of these trips.
I am leaving this trip with optimism, faith, more wisdom, more insight on my body's limits. I definitely pushed myself to the limit physically this time around, but on the same note, I did listen to my body, again, just due to the physical condition that I'm currently in. It was really wonderful to have the nurturing, supportive, loving energy around me. So that was really, really wonderful, not just for my physical body, but also for my spirit. And I'm new to receiving, so that was a really beautiful moment, and that's what I'll take with me, that, you know, I have my community, I've built my community, and I'm so happy and grateful for them all.
The people are really the magic, and I'm really grateful that I'm going to be going home with a new best friend, and also just a beautiful, beautiful connection with so many women.
I am leaving this trip with amazing memories and new friendships that I would have never have come across if I didn't come on this trip.
It's really hard to pick one memory because I think that there's so many little things that you encounter in these trips that it's hard to pick one, and you make all these relationships, and we talk about so many different things that it like really helps you evolve in some way. So I guess just the one memory, I guess I can't pick one, but if it would be one, it would be like the conversations that I have with different individuals and how I connect with them and how they help me grow, like with their experiences and what we're experiencing together. Somehow I feel like a topic that came up is like we're gonna go through a little short of grief, because we know we leave as one person and then we come back as another, because we definitely do evolve and we change. These trips do change us somehow, some way. So
I'm leaving this trip with friends. I'm leaving this trip with memories, actually being able to go to some of the historical sites. I'm leaving this trip with a little kitten memory at one of the temples. And above all, just the experience that some people will never ever be able to have coming into Egypt.
I'm gonna be leaving with a deeper sense of my connection to my past lives here, because I do believe that is the case, and also a greater sense of my own power and my own light and my own ability to make my way through the world and stay safe doing so while connecting with new folks and experiencing all the world has to offer. It changed my life and I'll never be the same. Thanks, Brew.